Hey guys, I'm here today with Jason Davidson, and he's giving me a hand here with Budget EG. This is the weekend. You're watching VTEC Academy. We're doing homework. Welcome to VTEC Academy. You're about to get schooled. We've got Budget EG here. We have our K-Series with the RDX head, so it's turbocharged, budget turbo. And we're going to be installing this in the EG. Hopefully we'll get it in this weekend. But we've got a few things we need to do beforehand. So I have made a list. We are going to replace our master cylinder while at the same time we can reroute some of our fuel lines. And then at the same time, we need to make an adapter plate to kind of close up this hole so we can plug in our harness. And then we're going to install our fuel bracket that holds the filter, fuel sensor, and regulator. Yeah, it's over here actually. This job right here. And then when we're done with that, we need to make some fuel lines for this. So once all that's done, and we'll install the wiring harness. Yeah. Once that's all done, we can actually put the motor in. So that's what we're working on today. Gather around, kids. It's going to be fun. Right now we're using a syringe in order to kind of bail out the old master so we don't drop brake fluid all over our interior.
Putting the lines back on already.
Too soon, Junior.
We discussed moving these fuel lines while I had had the lines disconnected.
Don't put them on yet.
Yeah, getting ahead of myself.
Too damn fast.
So ideally, where would you like these to end up?
Just I'm more interested in this one being behind on the back side.
Is this the return?
That one could be. That one's the feed. Wait, no, that's the return. So. Wait, let me look.
This one's bigger.
That's the feed.
Okay.
That's the return. The return is what I'm interested in getting back
okay.
here. Because then it makes it easier to route because I can do like a right angle.
So still this one,
yeah.
Return, you'd like that?
Exactly.
I've definitely got it behind there, but I have a feeling I want to go a little closer to the booster and firewall, so you've got a little more access around it.
Okay.
Because it's still pretty close to this. Do you want it back a little further? Or
yeah, back a little bit further. But we can get it further now because
we're on the other side.
Because we're on the other side, yeah.
I haven't replaced mine yet, so I haven't driven it. Have to do the. All right, fuel line, supply and return are adjusted. We can further tweak them, but they're on the other side of the brake lines. Up a little better. We'll get this mounted. Keep it out of the way of the shavings. All right, I'm happy with that. All right, what else was on the list?
Wait.
So on this white center section, you've got a notch here and one exactly opposite. And in the rubber, there's a connection. So you've got to line those up so that you can get it fully seated on there again. And with this nice bracket that Brian made up,
Clips in.
just like factory.
Yay!
Ish.
Ish. This has been moved behind, which should make it a little bit easier
Yep.
to deal with. That, I think, was fine anyway. Shall we mount the fuel plate in?
Sure.
This is our fuel plate. It is set up to basically control what's going into the engine. We have an input into the filter, 10 micron filter, then a fuel pressure regulator, and then out to an E85 sensor. E85 sensor we got
From a 2014 through, I believe, 2021 Chevy Silverado.
there you go.
Not all of them have them in the junkyard. If they do, they're on the driver's side frame rail inside of the frame, about even with where the cab and the bed come together.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They have this bracket that actually snaps onto the frame rail. We actually put a bolt on it because it's too tough to. I could probably get the holes just right if I drew them on a computer and
But this is
cut it. Yeah, but this is in the garage.
right.
All right, so let's mount it up.
Get one bolt from you. Got it.
It's in.
Yeah. That's pretty solid.
That is pretty solid.
Should work.
All right.
Yeah.
So the next thing we need to do on this is put fuel lines in. I guess we need to go get the stuff for making fuel lines.
Yep.
So we finished up the fuel supply side of things. The original fuel filter used to sit in this location. We needed this space. The turbo is going to reside in that location. We brought the assembly over here, added the fuel filter to this location, the vacuum referenced fuel pressure regulator over here. The return has a E85 sensor built into it. The ECU that we're going to run in this car has a capability of tuning depending on its content level. And then we continue the line back to our return. While we had the master out, we adjusted the angle on these lines to better line up to the new system that we installed. One of the other areas we still have to figure out, but we really can't figure out until the engine goes in, is going to be our heater hose routing. The turbo is going to be sitting roughly in this area, so once we hang the engine in the engine bay, we'll get a better idea what we've got for space and what we might have to do to keep a working heater. Next step is going to be to install the mounts into the chassis and onto the engine and get this thing off.
we just found something out that our motor mount interferes with this, with the intake air tube.
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting. So let me see what happens when I bolt it all in. So originally we had our mount kit set up like this, which is at the high setting, and we notice when we do that, our rear mount interferes with the intake air tube on the turbo. So we're gonna set it up as though we have we do that because we had a K20 in it. We're gonna set it up as though we have a K24 in it because we notice we can, when we have the K24 setting on the rear mount, it works just peachy. So good reason why I should use a K24 block rather than K20 block. But anyway, we're good. If this works, I'm just gonna throw a K24 block on it. I think I like that idea much better. Anyway. Yep. We're actually gonna call it quits right there. Engine's mounted in the car. Again, K24 height is what we need to clear that intake air tube that's gonna come off. So,
And close to the turbo.
yeah, exactly. So this is fine. I mean, it had a K24 in it before, so no loss. Notice the oil pan is hit free. So anyway, so we're gonna call it quits for tonight. But we'll be back again. Right now, the engine in, with axles in, we can roll it out of here. We're actually gonna bring it back down to work so we can do some fabrication on it, because we need to do intercooler piping, intercooler, radiator mount, all that good stuff.
Good morning, VTEC Academy. It's early. Brian left for his other work early and left me alone here, so I figured we'll get some more stuff done on the Civic, get this thing to a roller state, not roller skate, by the end of this morning. I've got an hour before the junkyard opens. I've got some items I need to pick up there, and then from there I'll go and meet Brian at his other work. But in the meantime, wow, it's both headlights. All right, I'll see if I can find those in the junkyard too. I need to get the axles installed so that we can make this thing a roller and keep the bearings from getting messed up by rolling the car under its own weight without the bearing, without the axle holding that bearing assembly together. So we're gonna get to work on that, get this thing to where we can roll it out of here this evening and get it back to Hasport and have some more fabrication work done on it there. Again, most all of this stuff was left just hand tight as they disassembled this. Well, that's got a lot of droop. It's still going. And again, the key here is this outer CV. The spline section needs to be through the hub, the inside flat face of that outer CV up against the back of the hub. When you tighten this nut down, that actually compresses and holds that whole bearing and hub assembly together. Helpful hint to folks, thought of it as I was throwing this together. If you can see, you've got the hole for the cotter pin to go through. This one actually has them two holes 90 degrees to each other, so it gives you more options to get that cotter pin placed. But helpful hint, I like to have this cotter pin hole go straight forward backward. That gives you the most access to get the pin installed and uninstalled the next time you need to service it. So just a little helpful hint.
good. We are a roller.
Much later.
One of the things I need in order to get this thing up in the trailer and stop it where it needs to be is to bleed the brakes. And we just replaced the master cylinder. So I'm going to show you a new product I found that is just absolutely amazing. This is, as you can read right there, a reverse bleeder. What it does is it actually pumps brake fluid from the caliper up into the master cylinder. And I found this thing works absolutely amazing. I had a problem with the car where I didn't properly bench bleed the master when I changed it and was not able to get the air bulbs out of the system. This worked like a gem, totally took care of it. On top of that, a couple of times we've had difficulty bleeding clutch slave cylinders. Those can be a real pain in the butt to bleed. This, again, took care of the problem. We reverse bled the system and it worked like a dream. In fact, we used it recently on the 87 CRX that we did the K series in. Anyway, you should check this thing out. Right now, I'm going to show you how it works. The instructions are pretty straightforward. This is how we reverse bleed it. As you notice, we're going to have our pump connected to the caliper. And then what's going to wind up happening is we're going to basically put a feed line into our brake fluid. And then we're just going to kind of pump air through, and we'll know it's through when it starts coming into the reservoir. So it's actually super simple to do. I'm going to set it up so we can do it right now, and let's get started.
I was wondering about the reservoir side of it.
You just kind of get the length right. Then it's got all these tricky little connections. So screw that together, and that's going to go on to our brake pump. Oh, we need a piece of the regular hose. So that's that, that's that. This plugs onto here. This screws into here. We have actual individual adapters for all our calipers. They just kind of snap on like that. Let's test a few sizes real quick on the calipers. Okay, we have two different sizes. This actually fits the Honda size. This is going to fit our Wilwood calipers, which are up front. And once again, they just lock on. We're doing the rears first because they're farthest away. All right. Go ahead and pop off the cap and just let me know when it's coming through. Not sure if it needs any priming, but here we go. We have a little bit bleeding out on the
I hear noises.
gurgling.
Yep. Fluid is rising up here.
It is?
Yep.
All right. One down, one to go.
Got a couple bubbles.
Yeah, so the Wilwoods actually have two bleeders, one on the inside, one on the outside. I'm going to try just doing the outside and see if that doesn't purge the air from both sides. I don't hear any slurping of bubbles. I have pedal. I'm probably going to do it one more time when I am at the shop, but good enough to get us on the trailer. All right, so if I'm at the racetrack and I'm worried about overfilling this thing because I'm pumping it back up through, I actually bought one of these too. It was about 11 bucks. This allows me to suck fluid out of the master and dispose of it. But that way I'm not overfilling it. Normally, if I was doing this in order to get out on the track, I would bleed it until I saw air come up through the bottom of the reservoir. And this is what I would use to keep it from overfilling the reservoir. But good enough for what we need to do, which is basically stop it when we get on the trailer. So we're ready to go. Thanks a lot for joining us on another episode of VTEC Academy. I appreciate you clicking on us, and please think about liking and subscribing. Pretty soon we're going to have this car running, and I'm totally curious to see if our anemic K20 A3 engine is going to make decent power with a turbo. And we'll see how it goes.
Yep, I'm curious too.